we're in person. Spending about 5 hours or so learning, engaging, laughing, having fun, maybe eating some lunch. And just like everything else during COVID, this is going to be a little bit different. I know it might feel like we're getting a lot of information tossed at you without a lot of time for discussion and questions. But I think it's important for us to keep today's adventures to just about 2 hours. We'll have other opportunities to take a deeper dive into the materials as we move into the year. And honestly, some of the initiatives and programs that you're going to hear about this morning are not completely worked out. So we're just planting some seeds, and we're going to let we're going to water them, let them grow a little bit to see how they work out. The objectives for today, hopefully you're going to be inspired and get excited about the year to come. You'll learn about some of the initiatives the district committee chairs are working on so that we can share them, so that you can share them with your clubs. Hopefully you'll gain some tools so that you could be the best ADs ever. And then mix in a little fun and team building, and we're going to call it a day. So, sound good? Can I get a woohoo? Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Woohoo! I didn't hear it.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
There we go. Woohoo! Excellent.
Woohoo!
Excellent. Woohoo! There we go. So hopefully all of you had a chance to watch Rotary International President-elect Shaker's presentation at International Assembly. I was so inspired by his words and message. And if you did listen, you heard him call my class of DGEs change makers. Well, honestly, I think we're all change makers. Every Rotarian is a change maker. And as we walk through the Rotary door of opportunity into a world where our Rotary service changes lives, we are indeed going to change the world. And how we're going to do this, you ask? By dreaming big. Dream big in regard to the Rotary Foundation, membership, and public image. And really, dreaming big is not anything new for our district, as you know, because we've been led to this point by past leaders that have dreamt really big. We've got one of those leaders on the call today. That's Craig Maxey, past District Governor Craig. They laid the foundation for us to continue building and growing. And for their efforts in big dreams, I know that Price, David, and I are extremely grateful, as well as our current District Governor, Steve Heiser. We will dream big to encourage our president to lead by example and give to the Rotary Foundation so that we can continue to do good things in the world. We will dream big as we increase membership, add clubs, and engage members in our newfound post-COVID world. We will dream big as we share with our communities in the world that Rotary is made up of doers, of people of action coming together to make a difference in a world. And probably the biggest dream of all is that we will eradicate polio from the face of the earth. To start a conversation about big dreams, we have with us past president of the Delaware Rotary Club and TRF Giving and Fundraising Chair, Joe Pemberton. Woohoo!
Woohoo! All right.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! All right. Thank you very much, MJ. Thank you very much, MJ. Great to be with district leadership today. Good to be with you all. I brought a gong to start us off.
I'm not done yet. Hang on, buddy. Hang on. Hold that thought. I heard that the Rotary Foundation is the heart of Rotary. It's that mechanism that drives and assists clubs to be able to afford to make lasting change and making significant impact in a world. And we have to remember that the Rotary Foundation is not only funding large-scale projects, but a portion of the money we give comes back to our district so that our clubs can do smaller-scale projects, but certainly just as significant and life-changing. So, Joe, would you like to share? Take it away, Joe.
I'd love to. Thank you, MJ. Thank you very much. Great to be with this expansive, broad band of district leadership. A lot of you have been very, very helpful to me in my journey through Rotary, and it's great to be with you. I brought a gong to kick us off. All right, as some of you may know that have attended the Delaware Rotary here in recent months, up until we started January, I got to serve as the substitute sergeant at arms. I have since been exiled. They didn't fire me per se. They just said that the original sergeant of arms, I was a substitute, and that the original sergeant is back. Anyways, long and short of it is, I have a segment I like to call Advice from the Single Guy. You know, I wanted to have a date for this event. I actually asked someone out earlier this week. I asked her to the gym, but she didn't show. I guess we won't work out.
Oh.
You know, quick advice from the single guy. If you're right, keep it to yourself. If you're wrong, say so. Okay, all good stuff. Now, if we could, we'll jump into our Rotary Foundation, and I will look to do screen share here and get us off and running. Okay, can everyone see everything now?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. All right, if we could, we're just moving on to why we're all contributing to our Rotary Foundation.
I have nothing on my screen.
Nothing on the screen right now? Can everyone else see?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Our Rotary Foundation, let's kick us off. Okay, so we've got our Rotary Foundation over 100 years strong right now. As you know, as a Rotary, we'll be celebrating as 116 years here on the 23rd on Tuesday. We've got our gala coming up on the 25th, but let's talk about why we're giving to our Rotary Foundation. As you know, when you received that pin, you became not only a member of the Rotary Foundation, but quite possibly a member of your club foundation as well. We are one of the greatest charities in the world. In 2019, we were ranked #1. That Charity Navigator continues to give us high praises. Very grateful for the foundation everyone on this call has laid to put us in this position, to provide us this platform. I like to think of, and I know that Larry and Price and Craig and Mary Jane and others have all kind of broken down that foundation into 3 parts. You think about the Polio Plus, the annual fund, and the endowment funds. Couldn't be more appreciative to David on championing the Polio Plus. We're trying to raise as much both there and with the annual fund as we can, in addition to the endowment fund. And let's kind of continue to walk through how those funds are able to domino on one another. On this call, everyone's already pretty well aware of how these break down. The one thing that's changing is that 5% admin support cost will now be divvied up amongst the whole dollar as opposed to just the World Fund. But it's great to know, I mean, obviously we're an international organization. It's great to know that half of that dollar comes back to the district as well. You think about all the fantastic projects that we here at 6690 have been a part of just in recent years. A number of which I know Price was showing his mask that was made in Guatemala. The Upper Arlington Rotary has really been a part of some spectacular projects here, both locally and abroad, and we'll be getting to some of those and others. To be careful on time, I'm going to hold off on videos. Okay. Here we go. You think about there in Guatemala with the Mayan Trade School, what our Upper Arlington was able to do, raising those funds locally and being able to find those matching dollars to contribute to a global grant and extend that dollar that much further. You think about the Rafiki Children's Center there that the Short North Club and others were able to come together and find a way to take those children that had been displaced with parents that had AIDS, and they've put together a whole new life and upbringing for them through this school. Heart to Heart, finding ways not only throughout our district, but within our zone, We've got past District Governor Maxey on the call right now. I'm sure he's well aware of this, where we're able to take both zones 30 and 31 here in the heart of America, as well as the heart of Mexico, and look for those shared synergies, not only to find relief pre-COVID, but also with COVID. It's just been a fantastic way for us to take those dollars and immediately impact whatever those disaster areas are and make sure that we're doing whatever we can to sustain our goals here as Rotarians. You think about our Life Pumps project, that's a recent one. That's a little bit newer to the scene. Life Pumps has been around since 2013, that Sunbury Rotary Club and the Mount Vernon Rotary Club. And then I know we've got Michelle Davis there from New Albany Rotary Club. It's just grown and grown. Now we have over a dozen clubs. You think about 2,000 from each club, the district matching those funds, you end up over, right now, I want to say that we're well over $36,000 to go into a global grant, and it just continues to build on itself. The whole concept of this really is taking those dollars, and based on economies of scale, we're finding ways to make our impact that much larger. So what one can do are great efforts, sure. But when you take those efforts and you multiply them, that's when we can have a real lasting impact. And that's really the concept, I think, of our whole funds, is finding ways to take dollars and build on them. Matching dollars. You think about local projects there, the Delaware Rotary involved in school supplies and their dictionary project. You look at Polio Plus. I know David would be able to touch on this. Every dollar that we contribute, that Bill Gates not only goes on the match, but then doubles that, $2 up to $50 million. So again, it's about taking those dollars and stretching them that much further to make sure that we have that much longer lasting of an impact. Our Rotary Peace Fellowships, I know we've got Tom Carlisi on the phone. This Peace Fellowship, I know we have over 100 members right now that have been able to go out and receive master's level education. And then once they've received the Peace Fellowships, they can then be deployed to countries with conflict. Again, taking those skills, taking those resources that we have here at Rotary and finding a way to use them to help better the world, to promote peace. Some examples of those disaster zones and how Rotary was able to provide relief. Going to our 125 Club, this, my understanding, this was a Governor Maxey creation. We're over 5 years running now with this. This is specific to our district here at 6690, and where you have $100 to the annual funds and then $25 to Polio Plus. It's been a great add-on. And if you think we had all these years where we were doing the $100 annual funds, just going that one quarter more has really caught fire. But one thing we'd like to do when we think about our foundation fund and our TRF is we only have just about half of our membership right now is contributing to that. Think of how much we could do if we were able to get, close to just a little more than that, how much more we could do, but we have opportunity to double that. You think about recognitions that we have. Right now, we're in matching points. That might get touched on later today. For example, when you spend $500, you contribute that to the Rotary Foundation, the district will match that with 500 points. Oftentimes taking points out of, if the district goes over or exceeds that limit, other Rotarians finding ways to take their points and then contribute that to the matching point. I know Governor Maxey and Bill Shortwell have been a part of that. Let's talk a little bit about Rotary Direct when you're looking to continue to give. If you're at all confused or a little bit flustered by that 5% overhead, that admin cost, if you get onto Rotary Direct, you can find a way to transition out of that for us, or at least start to limit it and trim it down that much more if we're taking away admin time by having to find a way to make that work. So there again, that's another opportunity for us to jump on Rotary.org and get Rotary Direct. Our major donors, I don't know if we have Joe Evans on the call, but we've got Joe Evans and Fran Ververka there. We've got Price Finley and Craig Maxey recognizing our major donors, those that have contributed 10,000 or more. There's just so many different opportunities and ways to give. We want to continue to promote peace. We want to continue to find ways to provide the foundation for others to thrive. And with that, we want to talk about endowment and legacy. What I'd like to say now is just if you think about legacy, the big thing that I would ask for all of our Rotarians, we've got a great legacy video that we can share with you and I'll send the link to, is just think about what you can do to have this continue to be self-sustaining, what you can do to pass on to future generations that might make this world a better place, not just in our lifetimes, but those beyond it. MJ, I'm very appreciative for the time. I don't want to run over. Thank you. Any questions?
You are awesome, Joe. I know I mentioned this as we started. It's going to be drinking from a fire hose, so lots of information. But yes, are there any questions for Joe?
And if you ever want me on a Zoom to hit the gong, I can do that for you too. Just give me a little notice.
Well, and to that end, though, Joe has been kind of on the road. He goes on the road show via Zoom or in person. So he has this presentation. So if any of your clubs are looking for speakers or would like to learn more about the foundation, Joe, I hope I'm not, putting you on the spot, but I think you and your group are more than willing to go to the clubs, like I said, via Zoom or in person to present and talk about the Rotary Foundation. The Rotary Foundation truly is the heart of Rotary. You know, when we talk about our theme that's coming up for my year, Serve to Change Lives, Rotary and all the projects that Joe has just shared with you certainly have changed a lot and lots of lives. And so it's extremely important, and it's called a foundation for a reason. It helps us to do the great things that we're doing. So
I would just add this too, MJ. If anyone has someone in their club that they're thinking of as a potential prospect to maybe get more involved with, please shoot me an email and I'd be more than happy to just jump into like a social Zoom call with them and see what their interest might be in specific projects. Yeah,
awesome. And just to kind of give District Governor Steve a shout out, one of his goals for this year is to increase the number of major donors, the Quest Society members and Paul Harris Society members. And Joe touched on that just briefly with Joe and Fran making that. And this is going to be, I think, a long-range project. So that is going to continue to be a focus of myself and Price and Dave and Ul as we move into the year. So certainly keep your eye out for those individuals because we're going to start working on that. And just a side note, the 125 Club is going to continue. Past District Governor Craig is working on a special pin, and it's going to be some sort of a woohoo pin. So I'm thinking, Joe, we're going to have 100% participation because everybody in the district is going to want to have one of these woohoo 125 Club pins. So Joe, you are awesome. I love your passion and your enthusiasm. Thanks for getting up. Thanks for sharing the gong and the drum with us. It was a perfect way to start the morning. Thank you so much.
Joe, real quick, I love your PowerPoint. I thought it was so efficient and dynamic, actually. I put in the chat, would you be willing to share that PowerPoint with others that might want it?
Absolutely, yes,
I think
110%.
I think the clubs, it would be fabulous to just update the clubs with your slideshow also. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
I'm not certain, Joe, but I think I saw Connie wiping tears from her eyes during that presentation.
She was laughing. It was tears of joy and laughter.
Not to be confused with blowing my nose.
That advice from the single guy. How you like that segment? That's something, right?
I love it. I think that should be a regular thing. I think that should be a regular thing. Dave Unger, maybe we could add that into the newsletter. You know, advice of a single guy could be like a little blurb on the newsletter each month. Nice. I think it's great. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. Thank you again, Joe. Awesome job. One of Shaker's initiatives is to grow Rotary. I think just like every Rotary International president, they have visions of growing Rotary. District Governor Steve and District Governor nominee Price and Jenny, our district membership chair, have really worked hard, incredibly hard actually, of putting some great ideas together, developing some ideas and supporting clubs in regard to membership and engagement. And these efforts will continue into the next year, but we're going to be adding something new to the mix. Rotary International President-elect Shaker's initiative is Each One Bring One. And so he shared with us at International Assembly, you know, there's 1.2 million Rotarians across the world. There have been 1.2 million Rotarians across the world for like decades. And so his vision is to change that number to 1.3. And so he wants each Rotarian to bring in a new Rotarian so that we can get 1.3. And I got to thinking, it's like, oh, clearly he must not have anything to do with math or an accountant or anything, because if we all bring in a Rotarian, that's 2.4 million Rotarians, not 1.3. So that's our challenge. And Jenny actually has put together some ideas about each one bring one. And I want Jenny to share some ideas with you. Again, this is one of those things that's a seed. It's been planting. We're watering it. We're not completely sure what exactly it's going to look like, but we've got some preliminary ideas that I wanted to share with all of you and the AGs so that we can start having conversations with the president-elects after their PETS experience in March. So Jenny, and if all of you know, Jenny is a past president of the Athens Sunrise Club, and she's a past AG, and she is our fabulous, dynamic district membership chair. Jenny, you have the floor. I pass the woohoo sign to you.
Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see all of your faces. I don't have a gong. I'm quite angry that I didn't think to get a gong. Joe, you should have given me a heads up. But I am getting very excited. I feel, I've starting to venture back out into the wild a little bit, and I realized just how much I forget how to be a human adult. And so when I see people, even through Zoom, I find myself getting so excited, and I want to tell you everything I ate that day and thought about that day and looked at that day, because I'm maybe losing my mind a little bit. So it brings a very genuine smile inside of, that place in my chest where my heart probably is, makes that part of me smile. So with district membership, I'll get to each one, bring one. We're gonna continue a lot of the momentum that we've been building over this past year, and we are launching some new things that are already in motion and already in works. One is the new member engagement initiative that actually Connie is helping to spearhead, where we're creating district relationships with new members who join Rotary Club. So they'll get a little welcome package and kind of a personal touch point when there's a district assembly coming up or a district conference, one-to-one invitation for anybody who's joined in the last year saying, hey, you should really come. This is not something that's just for club presidents, or, and really reinforce that they're for everyone, and kind of saying, hey, I'll save you a seat type thing. We're also, some of you as AGs now, you get my emails every month where I copy you, letting club presidents know, how many members they've added and kind of congratulating them on that. So I appreciate all of you reinforcing those positive messages to our club leaders. So we're going to continue doing that and growing that. We're also really looking to improve alumni engagement, both people who have left clubs, helping them navigate to a new club when they get a new job and move away. So we're kind of navigating former members to new club experiences, as well as working to improve alumni engagement through programs like, interactors, RILA attendees, Rotary Youth Exchange, kind of creating pathways into Rotary for those individuals. So we have a lot of cool stuff happening. But we'll continue to really focus on engagement of current members. That's a great way for us to grow Rotary, right? If we weren't saying goodbye to so many members of Rotary. So really working to give clubs tools for engagement, and trying to be really responsive to what they need. So if you hear of something that a club needs or that would be useful, please put that on our radar so we can work to build that and develop that. We're also going to continue to really work on growing Rotary by introducing new people, right? All those people, there's nobody who's not a member, they're just not a member yet. So all of those future Rotarians that just haven't met us yet. And one great strategy that MJ brought back from from President-elect Shaker is this concept of each one bring one. And for those of you that know the Lancaster Club, they're way ahead of the game because they've already launched this and are piloting it and have already welcomed, they started January 1st and have already welcomed 7 new members as a result of this initiative. So it works. So we're kind of calling it they're our pilot, but they were really just doing it because President Matt there in the Lancaster Rotary is a real go-getter and is awesome. So we're going to formalize it a little bit, and this is, it'll be a little bit of a work in progress, but I'm going to share with you where we are so far and what we're hopeful to launch in July. So we thought it would be fun when I was talking with MJ, and we both kind of got excited about this idea and how to create energy around it with clubs. And so we got this idea to incentivize, but with a charitable twist. So incentivizing clubs to participate. So we're going to create a lot of messaging and toolkits for club presidents so that if they want to implement this, communicate it to their clubs, they're going to have all kinds of resources that will help them implement this right away. They can take our tools, adapt them, and run with them. But one piece that we're going to be doing is on a monthly basis, hopefully on a monthly basis throughout the next Rotary year, asking club presidents or whoever they designate to be the contact for this to submit the names of any member of their club who has invited a guest to Rotary, either to a meeting, to a project, to a social event. Anyone who has invited someone, they can submit their names. I'll actually share the work in progress form just so you can see it. So they will submit their names on a monthly basis. They can pick their club and then they can submit however many members. That'll come to me. And we on a monthly basis will draw a name, and the lucky winner will get to choose a local charity, any charity they want, and we'll make a donation to that charity in their honor as a thank you, and hopefully create some message points around it, right? We're going to be talking to the inviting Rotarian. Why are they inviting, getting them to talk about that, and then also the person who wins, hearing their story about why they want to grow Rotary, why did they invite the person that they invited, and hopefully create a lot of really good storytelling around, this gift of sharing Rotary with one another. So I'm really excited to see how this takes hold. We're just starting to put together the resources and all of the tools to help club presidents and club leaders be able to put this into action in a really engaging and energizing way. And then all of the other stuff that we're working on, I'll deep dive into a little bit during the next leadership team meeting hosted by District Governor Steve. So if you have, want to hear about some of those other things, I'll be presenting here in a couple weeks about that. But this is really exciting, something we're going to add come July. And like I said, we've already seen it working, just that power of connecting one person to one person. So that's what I was going to share with you. I don't know if there are questions. I think I'm 1 minute and 4 seconds under my time. So there's 1 minute and 4 seconds worth of questions.
Excellent, Jenny. You're awesome. Yes. Are there any questions for Jenny? So Jenny, I have a question. So I've been doing some of my president-elect meet and greets hosted by the AGs. And membership seems to be a regular question. And so I know the AGs are probably going to come across this as well, as far as membership and kind of rolling out of the COVID environment and trying to get back to some sort of quote unquote normal. Can you just maybe guide the AGs as to like resources and things that might help the president-elects as they think about and plan about growing membership and keeping the current members engaged or keeping them involved? Because I think the Zoom, we've got some people that participate and some that don't. So is there any encouraging words or any kind of information you might want to share with the AGs in that regard?
Yeah, I really recommend starting on our district website, rotary6690.org/maintaining engagement. there's links to my favorite membership resources there that I think are some of my favorite ones that I've seen Rotary, because there's a lot of resources from Rotary International, which is great. It's also scary because there's so much there. So I've kind of curated lists of my favorite resources, and that's a great place to start. We also have guides that we've developed here in-house within our district. And one particular for engagement, there's a guide called Engaging the Member Who Disappears Pixel by Pixel. And that's one that really addresses when you have members who aren't engaging in the virtual formatting of meetings. And so that's a really great way. It basically is like a checklist where it kind of sends you through this flow chart of things to try, approaches to take. So I really recommend starting there. I also really love the Club Planning Assistant. It's my favorite new tool that Rotary International has published. I know that there's going to be some communication coming directly from Rotary to clubs that will be introducing that tool to them. We've been talking about it a lot in our membership roundtables. I talk about it kind of like as if you go to a museum and you get your own personal docent to like walk you through and explain everything. That's what the Club Planning Assistant is. And it just kind of curates the top tools. So I really recommend starting at our district website for clubs. And there's tons of strategies there on new things to try at meetings, ready to go games. There are what I call pocket projects or service projects that are just ready to go, one sheet service projects that could be implemented anywhere, ranging from literacy, food insecurity. There's plans on there to do tiny free pantries. So if a club maybe really wants to re-energize people through service, they could do that by taking one of those ready to go service projects.
Awesome. Lots of tools. Jenny, yes.
I asked
Go ahead, Tom.
Tom?
I put it in the chat. Could you give us an update on status of Rotary e-clubs? I'm seeing other clubs around the country and they're just growing dramatically with e-club membership. And I don't know if you have time to talk about it, but just a question going forward.
Yeah, so, you know, there's e-clubs in general, which have existed for a while. And then now we, of course, I'm starting to see the types of clubs all blend together into this really cool melting pot, right? So a lot of clubs are embracing a hybrid technical component and are really breaking geographic boundaries. So we've been having a lot of discussions about starting web-based club experiences here in our district. And we have 2 conversations kind of underway with that. But if you hear any mumblings of the potential for one to start, please mainline that information to me and we will make it happen.
Awesome.
MJ, Jenny, can I ask one question real quick? Jenny, a quick question for you. I've kind of been wondering in terms of, I know we don't have a cookie cutter slot for who we're looking to continue to recruit as Rotarians. I mean, there's so many different opportunities out there, but I was just curious. I've often thought as I think there's the whole group that transitions into retirement that have so many skills, so many tools, so much energy, so much still to bring, that I wonder if we ever make that a target as those that are transitioning into retirement is really kind of something we steer for.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I actually do that because, you know, I work with the volunteers for a living. And we actually do that. We connect with the Ohio, like the Teacher Retiree Association, the, you know, nurse retirees, and we actually send like a welcome to retirement package. Here's how to fill up your time, volunteer with us. So we could probably replicate that for Rotary. That's a good idea, Joe.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, Joe, you just could have said District Governor Heiser. I mean, you didn't have to generalize it. I mean, really.
Well, we've got plans for you, Steve. Actually, Steve is committed to membership and growth of Rotary. So I know that he's got some exciting things that he's going to take part in and help Jenny out once he's retired from being district governor. So membership is certainly, we could probably talk for the whole hour on membership and different ideas and so forth. So Jenny, thank you so much. You are a rock star, world famous, you know, putting District 6690 on the map. And I love all of your ideas and energy, and looking forward to working with you in the coming year and seeing how things go as each one brings one. And just to kind of roll into our next presenter with Dave Unger is we're going to talk about public image. And some of you were on the call with the PEs on Wednesday, and so we talked about this, how foundation, membership, and public image are really like the three legs of a stool. And Jenny talked about telling your story. You know, you can tell your story in order to get new members. You tell your story and show your passion in order to grow the Rotary Foundation. So public image is really a key component of these three blocks of Rotary. So some of you have heard some of the stuff that I think Dave was going to share, but there are some great things. So Dave Unger, it's all yours, buddy. Take it away.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. So thanks for that intro. Actually, I'm not going to talk too much about some of those tactical things. Well, we'll hit on them and you can certainly ask questions, but I feel like we've gone over them a few times, and plus we'll roll them out. And you'll hear more about some of these things in the coming months. But this year has really been a year of building and organizing and observing and strategizing and just understanding the lay of the land while we've continued to sort of continue with the public image that have been there. But at the end of this year and the beginning of next year, we do want to deliver on some more tactical resources for people. So ways to easily get your story out there, sort of some turnkey tools that clubs can use to better promote themselves. And Jenny, I definitely want to coordinate with you and your committee on this, because I hear a lot of overlap in what you just described too. And two of the main things that I wanted to get across is public image is much more about relationships than it is about the campaigns. The campaigns are sort of there as a foundation, as a way for people to start thinking about Rotary, but it's really the going out and talking to people and inviting your network into Rotary. That's where it makes an actual difference, and we deliver on adding members. And also getting our existing Rotarians to actively participate in promoting Rotary, probably more so than we have. I know many Rotarians are really good at that and do a great job and are out there, but we have so much potential that we're not using of Rotarians who could be sharing their Rotary stories more and just casting a wider net and more repetition and just getting out there more. So with all that said, and please feel free to ask me more questions in a moment, but I'll do this Ferris Bueller style instead of slides. There. A couple things that I would like help from the AGs on this year. One is to make sure the clubs are naming a PI chair, and so that we get good PI engagement from the clubs and start to organize better. We did better this year than I think we have in a while, but we have some building to do there too. Next year, we are going to bring back the public image grant, matching grant. So encourage your clubs to apply for that. The details of that will come out, but would like your help in helping promote that within the clubs. Also encourage the clubs, take a look at the clubs within your areas and see how are they doing on their own web and social media, and is their branding current? Are they active? Are they really doing things? Are they getting their name out there and their image out there? And then encourage them to send stories, news, photos, everything to the Public Image Committee. And if you don't mind doing some of that on their behalf as well, give us the heads up of what your clubs are doing and what they're going to be doing. That will just help us organize a lot better. So I'm going to pause there for questions or comments.
Do we have questions for Dave? So I think the key takeaway, the starting point really is for the AGs to convince and maybe have conversations with the president-elect if they have a public image chair. I think that's a great place to start. And like Dave said, we've got some that are designated, but some are not. So. And then, Dave, did you want to share as far as we're planning on doing kind of a district-wide public image campaign? If the budget is approved, we are going to have a little bit of funding to do that. Do you want to share with everybody what that might look like? Again, details are not completely cemented, but we do have an idea of what we want to do.
Yeah, sure. The crux of it, the basic piece of it is that we are going to do videos, very short videos of Rotarians. And we'll actually probably want to start with district leadership just because you're accessible and easy and we can compel you to help. But to talk about who they are who are you as a person? Who are you in your community, in your profession? Just what drives you? What do you believe in? And how is Rotary a part of that? And we're going to do that as many times as we can, really. But the goal is to probably have the district produce 2 of those a month centered around either both and the monthly themes of Rotary or events that are happening, major events that are happening in any given month. And then the idea is that those will build. I mean, they're useful in that month, but we can keep using them. And then we also want to have clubs start to do their own if possible. So record your own video on your own lo-fi, just talk about yourself and post it. So that the idea there is to really get to know who are Rotarians. They're people that you know every day, the people in your neighborhood. And we just talk about how is Rotary part of who you are.
Perfect.
If I can make a comment, Dave, on that, 2 things. Number one, and thank you, I think you're absolutely right. Number one, the district is having, our past district governor, Shane Pyle, is interviewing past district governors. It's already started, and the first one was he interviewed Nelson French from the Columbus Rotary Club. It's up on our YouTube site. And Lancaster Rotary is interviewing their past presidents and more seasoned members. And I think at least, I just saw one of them this past week, which is just a really excellent little short interview of one of their, maybe their currently oldest member and a past president. So clubs can start to do this, as you said, Dave. You don't have to wait till July 1st. Clubs could start to play with this now and do it. We have a district YouTube site. It can happen. Thanks.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Steve. And I think it's basically, it's back to that storytelling. Why did I join Rotary and why do I stay? I think it's an easy story to share, I think, for all of us. Why we stay engaged. So Tom, yes, Tom.
Yeah, one of the things I want to comment about, I think, and we talk about this a lot, that we don't promote what we do ourselves into the community. Like with our Interact clubs, our Rotaract, and even our own clubs. One of the things that I think we might approach also is when we are doing a service project, have the recipients of that service project talk about the benefit that Rotary has done for them and put that out there rather than us promoting ourselves. That way we have people in the community who have received our service talking about how wonderful Rotary is. Just a suggestion.
Yeah. No, that is a fantastic suggestion. And to interview the recipients and to know how, Rotary has impacted their lives is huge. And it goes back to, serve to change lives. That's what we do. That's the heart of what we do. And that's why we're Rotarians, is to make the world a better place. And if we can make it a better place one person at a time, that is the story. So great idea, Tom. Love that. We'll have to write it down, Dave. We'll have to figure out something.
I got it.
add that to the mix, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, well, we're a little bit
Dave?
behind schedule, but I anticipated
Dave?
that. Any more questions for Dave? Yes, Jim, go ahead.
Hey, Jim.
Dave, what do you intend to do with the video? Once we create, what do you do with videos?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yeah,
Go ahead.
You cut out there for a second, but I heard you. Those will be posted on social media as videos that, will hopefully, that's part of the participation issue here is we can post things, but if nobody looks at it or responds to it, it doesn't do much good. So that's a place where really getting the help of the AGs and the presidents to get the clubs and the Rotary members to interact with that video once it's posted, to like it, share it, comment on it, etc. That's what gets it out there and more visible to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jim, we have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
We can put the link in
Yes.
in the newsletters, in the news briefs, and then it be on our district YouTube channel to get it out to everybody.
There are some rather inexpensive ways of sharing this type of message in the non-social media that we found very successful in our business. I can chat with you later on that if you'd like.
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah, excellent. That's why I love having these meetings. Everybody's got some ideas and suggestions. So the more ideas and the more things shared, I think the better and the stronger that will be. So awesome, Jim. Thank you so much. Okay. Any other questions for Dave? All right, Dana, I think we're going to have some fun here for a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes, baby, right?
Yes.
Joe, you want to ring the gong just so we can get started? Unmute yourself and gong away. Yeah, you better unmute. Give us a gong to start the party.
Fabulous. Okay, we just have some fun trivia questions, and some of them are Rotary related, some of them are Ohio related. So just to have a little bit of fun, we've got 3 questions for you. So go ahead and put your answers in. This first question, which company uses this as its motto and its noble cause? And the noble cause that you cannot see, and I'm sorry, is we live and deliver wow. WOW. We live and deliver wow. Which company do you think that is?
So Dana, do you just click on it? There we go.
Yeah, click which one you think it is, and then we'll go on to the next one. And then when we finish these 3 questions, we'll click submit and look at them. What color is the stone in the gold in the gold Paul Harris Fellow pin? We just have 2 questions. I told you 3. We just have 2. Does anybody need more time? Not everybody has answered. I'll give you just a minute.
Dana, I clicked both, but I didn't hit submit and the screen's gone now. I don't know if it automatically submitted, but.
I don't know that I can get it back to you, Joe,
No
without.
worries.
Okay, here I'm going to share results. So which company has its motto, we live and deliver wow? Who said Zappos? Because you were correct.
Wow. What? What?
We got that right.
Buying shoes helps.
Michelle did. Michelle knew.
Yay, Michelle. It does help. Okay. And then the color of the stone in the gold Paul Harris Fellow pin, Somebody who knows it for a fact, shout it out loud.
Blue.
Blue, that's right. Yes. Thank you. Those are our 2 questions.
My question is, Price, did you get 100%?
I wasn't able to vote, and I would not have had 100%. I was going to vote
Okay.
for FTD Flowers. And also, I think I would challenge the second question, because it depends what level of Paul Harris fellow you are, what color stone you have.
That is spoken like a true lawyer right there.
Are you an attorney, Bryce? Are you an attorney about these
That sounds like a lawyer.
And I'm not sure these are debatable. I don't think that's allowed. So anyway.
Are you going to overrule my motion?
I think so. Overruled. I have the power. I have the power. All right, Dana, was that our? Oh yes, you get the gong, the big hook. So now I would like to rule into the AG roundtable. And so I'm very excited about this. We did this, Steve, I think during your AG training last year, and it may have happened the year before as well. But it's a great opportunity, not only for our current AGs that are staying with us, but also the brand new AGs, to kind of hear the experiences of those that are transitioning out of the position. So Dana's got some questions. Hopefully there might be some questions that you have that will help you as you start working in your role as AG. So panel members, we have Connie Hendren. Yay, Connie! Woohoo! Greg Irvin, yay, Greg, woohoo! And let's see, I don't see Joe Evans on the call, and we have David Uhl, District Governor nominee designate, soon to be past AG, David Uhl, on the panel. So with that being said, Dana, would you like to go ahead and ask the first question?
I would. Thank you, MJ. And so we'll just go in this order. Connie and Greg, and then David. So when Connie's finished, Greg, you just jump in. When Greg's finished, David Wolf, you'll just jump in. The first question is, as an AG, what were your biggest obstacles?
I'm trying to think, it was so many years ago. I don't know. I think making it harder than it really was, trying to do everything at once. And quite frankly, as you begin to work with the clubs and it just kind of runs smoothly because you get to know each club and everything just kind of flows. So I think the best advice I could say is don't overwhelm yourself. Take what's going well and run with it. And you would be surprised just how many of the club members will latch on and they'll make you feel good. So again, don't get too overwhelmed.
Okay. This is Greg. I go back to 2015-16 year, and some of the getting to know the clubs, I think, was the most important. Obviously, all that predates the COVID pandemic, and it was much easier to, be able to spend time and personally, get acquainted with all the members. There are some clubs that almost initially you kind of feel like it's the old shoe, you fit right in and it's really comfortable. And I had one club that had been kind of estranged from the district for a while. There was some shall I say, bad blood with the club and the district. And so I had to spend more time in, going to the clubs. And probably the most important thing is just listening to the issues that the members and the leadership have, and, being there really on a regular basis. I tried to, be in the clubs a minimum of, once every 2 months. There were some clubs I was there typically twice a month. Getting to know the people is probably the most important. listening to what their concerns and issues were. And when they had something, trying to show that there was a way that we could respond to that from the district to help solve those problems. A little different during the pandemic era, where really one thing that helped me, I was able to rely on the contacts that I'd made over, a period of 4 or 5 years. So it was easier to retain contact with those clubs, even when, I personally, couldn't go, they were not having meetings. Getting to know the people, listening to the people, I think those are the real things that were important for me and my 5 clubs.
Mine would not be dissimilar from Greg's in that I think one of the biggest obstacles for me was more of a personal obstacle, and it was just ensuring that I was making time to get to the clubs and spend time with them. And so like Greg, I wanted to try to be in the clubs at least every other month. And we know we're supposed to try to get there quarterly to engage. And that was sort of the, no less than that, but every other month was the goal. And so what I had to do was, because we're all busy people, right? You're all great Rotarians who are involved in a number of things. I just had to start blocking that time off. So I'd sit down every quarter and look ahead and say, all right, when am I going to be able to get to these clubs? I'd put it on my calendar so that I already had it blocked off. And then I would not let anything change those times. I mean, it would have had to have been a really big disaster or emergency for me to schedule something over top of that. Of course, that was pre-pandemic time when you had to travel. My farthest club was nearly an hour away. And so it was a pretty significant time investment. But, now online, it's so easy to just jump in, so regularly. As we start to transition back, I think AGs, we may have, this happen again where we really have to be purposeful about when we schedule to be with clubs. And then I'd let them know, I'm planning to come this date, so that not only have I scheduled on my calendar, but now I know they're expecting me. And if I don't show up, then, they might be okay with that. But, at least the president's going to wonder, well, why didn't all show up today? So that was one of the biggest obstacles for me, just making sure I was getting there consistently and engaging with the members.
Oh, awesome. So Dana, can I interrupt and ask Greg a question? So in our district governor aligned conversations, we talk about how, sometimes the district has been viewed in the years past as kind of this ominous thing. And, when the district governor comes to visit, it's like all very scary because it's, the district governor is there. So we've done have worked really intentional to try to get rid of that persona and try to make it so that we are approachable and that we're, that we are engaging and that we are here truly to help clubs grow and to solve any kind of concerns or issues that they might have. So Greg, you mentioned, I think in your experience early on, that there was a club that had some sort of a bad taste and a bad experience with the district. Can you just share with us how you overcame that and how you changed maybe that connection with your club and built that relationship?
Well, part of it was, by attendance, where I really made an extra effort to attend more functions at a club. And one of the points I should have made when we were talking in general terms, participate in the service projects and the fundraisers. That's another great way to, lack of a better word, endear yourself to the club and show them you're, a regular person and you have the same interests and it's all part of the Rotary. But really being there, listening, and then trying to do as much to highlight that club district-wide and the good things they were doing. I think that's the key. Certainly participation in their service projects and their fundraisers. Sometimes it's, just making that trip and going down and buying the fish dinner on Labor Day weekend. And they seem to appreciate that when they see someone, from the district that's not there to, check on them some way. It's just being one of the regular member coming in. And sometimes it's not that difficult to out attend some of the regular members. That would be the things I would think of.
Yeah, awesome. It's all about relationship building And I
Yes.
think that the point, and what I really love what Greg said is, just that I'm a regular person, I'm a Rotarian too, and I'm just here to kind of hang out and not necessarily be the Rotary police. I'm just here for support and to help and to build that relationship. So thank you, Greg. All right, Dana.
Okay, thank you. So we'll again go in the same order, Connie, Greg, and David. What was the thing that you liked best about being an AG? Connie?
Well, of course, being an AG, I had the opportunity. I had been a member of five Rotary clubs, and every time, even just being with the members, but as an AG, I had the opportunity, like Greg said, you go, you do things with them, meeting those people, being a part of what they do, and understanding each area is different. So their concerns were certainly important to them, and I was able to help them work through it, or just share in good things that they did. So it was all about, like MJ said, building those relationships. Just it was more fun for me, I think, meeting all of those people, and things that I will never forget. So I think anytime you have that opportunity to share, like Greg said, the events with the clubs, be there, buy that ticket, and it's fun. I mean, it was as much fun for me. So again, the relationship building was by far the best thing for me.
Greg?
Works better if I unmute there. Going along with the same, things that Connie found, I found one thing that I really felt was a benefit for me was because I was an AG, I learned more about Rotary. I got to see the big picture. I went to 2 international conferences. It helped me understand what Rotary was all about. Before that, I'd been club president, I'd served other positions in the club, but I was still kind of focused on Jackson County and what was going on. Once I started going to my home club and 4 other clubs, I could see that things were similar in each community, but yet they were different. They always say if you've seen one Rotary club, you've only seen one Rotary club. When you have the opportunity to get up close and personal, like Connie noted, when you're dealing with 4 or 5 clubs, you have 4 or 5 times the potential for those positive experiences that you've had in your own club. And that combined with understanding the big picture, attending all the district conferences, all the district events, the enhancement that you get in your own personality or your personal views of Rotary. I think those are things that are very important that, I know I wouldn't have done had I not been an assistant governor.
Yeah, I think one of the things for me was not dissimilar from Greg, is seeing what each club, and I had the opportunity to work with 7 different clubs during my time as AG, 2 different assignments, and just seeing how different they really are and how they go about the work of Rotary, and sort of taking the idea of service above self and the major initiatives and pillars and applying those locally in their clubs. And it was always great to see. And I had the opportunity, I think, to be with one of our largest clubs as AG, which was Newark, and then one of our smaller clubs as well, and really get to see how they did things differently, but not discount, as I learned about each club and how they did things, the unbelievable impact that our smaller clubs have on their communities and on Rotary in general. One of my favorite clubs is the Pataskala Club. that I had the opportunity to work with as AG, and they just do an unbelievable number of things to impact their community on a regular basis. And there'd be times I show up to that meeting and there's 10 people around the table, but they do so many things to really embody Rotary and put service above self. And it's really, really cool to see. But as it's true, if you've seen one club, you've seen one club, 59 clubs, 59 ways of doing things, and really drilling down on how we apply Rotary and our overall sort of beliefs and initiatives and pillars locally. So for me, that's one of the greatest things, was just to watch how different each club is, but also note the significant impact in their own way that each one of our clubs has on the community and on the world.
Thank you all for that. Now I would like to kind of transition a little bit and have you all each tell us about a time when maybe you were working with a club president who wasn't super engaged, and how did you work through that? So this time, why don't we go in reverse order? We can go David, Greg, and Connie.
And Dana, Joe has joined us. So if we'd like to include Joe Evans in the conversation too, that would be awesome.
Great, thank you.
So I'm thankful that I never really had that issue. And I don't know if you will or won't as an AG, but I did not. And I just think that, you know, if I had some then who were maybe less engaged than others that were really, really engaged, I just always tried to stay in front of the presidents in particular. So even when I wasn't visiting a club in the off months of a visit, I was sending out monthly emails to all the club presidents. And I typically tried to individualize those emails on some level, where I talked a little bit about what they're doing and the impact that they're having. And I really just worked to try to stay invisible, I guess, one way or another with the club presidents, and let them know that we're here to support and to do whatever we can to help them move forward. But I guess I'm fortunate, and I'm sure there are other AGs that have a story, but I really don't. All the presidents I've worked with over the years really have, you know, they've worked their way through some sort of process to become president, and they really committed to trying to do all they can to move their club forward.
Okay, Greg, back again. I think, you know, if you have 4 or 5 clubs, you're going to have 4 or 5 different levels. You know, some folks have the ability to hit the ground running. They have a lot of great leadership skills. Sometimes the challenge is getting them to know more about Rotary. A lot of my clubs, typically, it's a very short pathway to the presidency. They may have only been a member for a year or two before they're thrust into that leadership position. So trying to work with them to understand the big picture of Rotary and stand back behind them, so that, you know, they are always presented as the true leaders of the club. They're the folks that are able to articulate Rotary's vision to their members. But, you know, the challenge would be to provide them with the background information they need to understand Rotary and the big picture of what we're trying to do, both in local communities and internationally.
I'm like Dave, I have not. I was very fortunate with the first 4 clubs that I had. They were fantastic. They were just the one thing it allowed me to do, working with each of those presidents, was, as Greg had stated, if I was given a challenge from one of them, it forced me to find that answer, which made me also grow in Rotary. But this year, I think, has been my worst. And I think a lot of it has to do with the COVID, the way we've transitioned to this type of meeting. I find that I think some of the presidents right now are just, they've kind of given up. And I think it's my part to let them know we're still out there and we're still there to help. Steve has been a tremendous help with me because without him, there may not have been some breakthroughs that we have been able to do. But again, that's the other thing as an AG, know that you can still go to your district governor and depend on them to pump you up a little bit. So again, I haven't had any real, my biggest challenge was this year, but I'm hoping this is the last. So that's it.
Thank you, Connie. And Joe Evans, do you want to share with the group what did you do when you worked with a president who was not very engaged when you were the AG?
Well, you see, my term of service has just been since July. So I haven't been with any of the clubs other than weekly on the virtual meetings. So all of them work very smoothly. I was a little bit shocked by two of the clubs, and David, you all had the clubs before, just how informal they are. I'm not used to real formality, but Gahanna spends a lot of their meeting playing games. And initially I was kind of turned off by that, but everybody seemed to enjoy it. So, and I think that's the important thing. They're all engaged and they do a wonderful job of money raising. And Patasklas, they're just a lot of fun. They very seldom have a speaker. It just kind of flows for about 45 minutes. So, and I've tried to help with that in terms of giving them names of people. But 7:30 in the morning, I imagine out in Pataskla, it's difficult to get people to come in. So, you know, they're pleasant to work with. Everybody's very helpful, and they bend over backwards to do whatever you ask them to do. So I couldn't ask for anything more. And this is going to be an abbreviated term too, because I only took it for this year. So, but I gained more than I gave, I'm sure.
If I might just jump in really quickly to jump off what Joe's saying, because I switched clubs and he sort of took the clubs I had. And I think what Joe's having and what any of you who've come in the last year are having and what you who are new may have for some period of time until we transition back is a much different experience than you will have when they're in person. Because I can tell you that the Gahanna Club in particular was pretty formal when we were meeting in person, and Pataskala typically always had speakers when they came in. And so what Joe's experiencing is, man, what are we going to do for 45 minutes as we try to bring these people together? And many of you may be experiencing that, and not having had the history of what those clubs might look like when they were meeting in person. It's probably going to be much different when we actually begin to transition back.
Thank you for that. Okay, and to each of you, thank you for sharing. MJ, I'm going to turn it over to you. Our time is up.
Perfect. Thanks. So this, I think, again, we could probably do an entire hour on this idea exchange and conversation, because I think this is probably the meat of an AG training, is to really have the dialogue back and forth. What are your experiences? How are you handling those kinds of things? So hopefully we can continue this kind of conversation, maybe in the monthly conversations, with the AGs that Price will be holding, and David will be doing the same thing as we transition into my year. But your role as AGs is extremely important. It's all about relationship building, and certainly you do get out of it what you put in it. And I think as far as my Rotary experience so far, being an AG was probably my favorite experience, because just getting to know the clubs and similar to what Connie and Dave and Greg and Joe have talked about, each club is different. I had big clubs and I have clubs that are tiny, West Lafayette, that meet at night. And that was the hardest one for me, because I go to bed early, and a supper club is just not good for Mary Jane. But anyway, those individuals are hard workers, and their heart is all about service. And so that's really what made me really enjoy my experience as an AG, is to see these individuals, every week getting together, coming up with project ideas. It didn't matter the size of the club. They're all still making some, making impact in their communities and so forth. But just getting to know those individuals and their heart for service was my favorite part. But you know, there are going to be some challenging times. I think we're rolling in from out of the COVID into the new normal. And so I think everybody is a little uncertain how that looks. So they're going to rely on you for guidance and support and direction. So I think all you can do is do exactly what the 4 AGs that are outgoing are sharing with you, is just build that relationship, get to know them, and just be part and become part of their club. And then they'll be comfortable with you, and you'll be able to assist them. So I would love to continue this conversation, but the agenda is jam-packed. So I'm going to move on to our next topic, which is peace. So the next segment of our hour together, 45 minutes, whatever this works out, is basically we talked about the 3 main pillars: foundation, membership, and public image. Those are the core, as we talked about, legs of the stool of Rotary. Transitioning into this portion of the program, we're going to kind of talk about some things that I'm extremely passionate about. All of you know that peace is kind of my thing, and I'd like to share a story with you, and I know this might cause us to go a little over, but the reason why peace is so important for me as far as a Rotarian and the impact is this experience that I had. Our club started to do peace projects when I came back from Sao Paulo. The advice that I had gotten from my pets experience was, you know, Rotary is so big, there's so many spokes, there's so many different things. Find something that you're passionate about, and then you kind of make that your signature project. When I went to Sao Paulo for my first Rotary International Convention, I was exposed to Rotary and Rotary being peace builders. So I thought, well, that's going to be my thing. I'm going to bring that back to my club, and we're going to do a peace project, and had no idea what it was going to look like. So what we ended up doing is doing peace trees and peace medallions. So we had these peace medallions. We printed like 5,000 of these things, and we distributed them throughout all of the schools in the Muskingum County area. And so we encourage students to write on these medallions what peace means to you. Color them in any fashion you want. So, I mean, there were beautiful ones. There were ones that were colored by, you know, 1-year-olds. So some were crazy or whatever. So we had like thousands of these things. And so what we did was we hung these medallions on peace trees. We had them at the library. We had them we usually do an art walk on the first Friday. So we had the trees out for first Friday. So we have all of these. And so if Veterans Day comes, we decide we're going to go ahead and do a Rotary float. And we're going to put these peace trees on the Rotary float, put all these medallions like around the float, and we had balloons and all kinds of things. And so this particular Veterans Day, however, it's like 25 degrees. The wind is blowing like 45 miles an hour. And so there are probably about 10 or 12 of us trying to hang these medallions on those silly trees, trying to put these balloons and these like paper mache things on this float, and things are just flying all over the place. And we're laughing and giggling, you know, it's like we're spreading peace. Look, we're Rotarians, we're spreading peace, you know, just laughing, because once these things blew away, you couldn't find them. They were gone. So I had to leave for a prior engagement. The parade went according to plan. And then the person who was participating and marched in the parade and helped put some of these things together was Keeley Wharton. Some of you might know Keeley. She is the executive director of Christ Table in downtown Zanesville, but she's also now our president-elect nominee designate. I think she'll be president with you, David. So she, after the parade, she went back to the Christ Table just to kind of check to see how things were going. And she actually encountered a lady that was in the alleyway, all bundled up, in tears, clearly distraught, clearly upset. She walked up to her in typical Keeley fashion and asked her how she was doing, if she's okay, and if there's anything she can do. Come to find out that she had been raped that evening, or the evening before, and she was just really very upset and just traumatized. So Keeley convinced her that she needed to take her to the doctor for examination and make sure that she was okay and so forth. So as they were gathering her things, a typical kind of street person fashion, she had a grocery cart full of her things. And in the grocery cart was one of these medallions under a strap. And Keeley knew what it was, but she asked the gal, she goes, well, what is this? And she pulled it out and she said, you know, I was contemplating suicide. And she goes, out of the air came this medallion floating out from the sky down to this gal. And she goes, and I picked it up and it had this fabulous inspirational message. And she goes, I decided that there was still hope. And so I'm saving that as my reminder. And so, I mean, I'm getting chills just talking about it. This story is so powerful, and you have no idea what we do, you know, what the significance is of what we do. And we might touch a life. We may know it or we may not. But this is why, ladies and gentlemen, that I feel that peace is so important. I mean, I think we saved a life that day. And all it is this crazy piece of paper with a message written from some student somewhere in Muskingum County. So I'm going to continue to strive to make peace a project or an emphasis of our district. I know that past District Governor Craig was the first district governor to give $25,000 to the Rotary Foundation in support of peace. What is it? Help me. Joe, you talked about it, the peace centers, support the peace centers so that we can have peace center individuals throughout the world. And just so excited to have Tom Carlisi on the call today to kind of share some things that's been happening, that's going to be going on for this year and into next year. So Tom, if you would like to take it away, I have to catch my breath now.
Thank you, MJ.
Tom, are you there? Are you still there?
I am. I just want to share with you, I just put in the chat, every Rotarian is a peace builder. And MJ, your story and testimony is literally living that phrase. Every Rotarian is a peace builder. Bless you. And we want to recognize every person that's doing Rotary work is doing peace builder. So what I'd like to do is, first of all, I want to thank you all as this leadership team and the AGs for your help in helping to build peace builder clubs in our district. What I'd like to do is take you through a PowerPoint. A lot of you have seen it. I've updated it, and I'm going to run through it kind of a celebration, kind of featuring some of the Rotarians in our district that are taking leadership roles in peace. And I want to go through it very quickly, though, and then leave some time for Mary Jane's picture as district governor-elect. And it falls under the theme Dream Big. Okay, so we're going forward with that. So let me go ahead and put the PowerPoint up right now and just make sure it's on the screen, correct? You can see it? Got it. Thank you. So this is the District 6690. We are aligned with the Rotary 7 areas of focus. You can see there. So everything we've talked about, all the projects today, is about building and sustaining what we call positive peace. And the one in the upper left, promoting peace, oftentimes also is about peace and conflict prevention resolution. We're following the guidelines of Rotary Action Group for Peace. We're recognized on their global peace map. We are following their objectives: educate, empower, engage, raising the profile, and supporting peace centers. So on our district, quickly to review the objectives: sustain and grow our peace builder clubs. We now have a current 20 clubs. We have 5 we think are going to get apply and get recognized this year yet in Steve's year. And we have over 10 already interested in continuing. So we now are the largest district in the Midwest. And by the end of MJ's year, we're going to be probably the largest peace builder district in the Western Hemisphere. But we want to implement the objectives of educate, empower, engage. Supporting this peace centers, it's already mentioned. From RI, we're a recognized Rotary International Peace District. We give $25,000 a year to the peace centers, support peace fellow alumni. We want to grow 3 Rotaract peace builder clubs, and we want to encourage peace fellowship. So under education, you can go on the RAG website. There's a peace primer, 12 pages, learn a lot of great information. RI website, there's Institute for Economics and Peace has a positive peace program. You can go through and get a certificate. We also have Craig Klein from Wellston Rotary, he is now a IEP Peace Ambassador. So we have in our district a Peace Ambassador. Also, a lot of you have gone through the online program, Every Rotarian Rotaract is a Peace Builder, that I do. 6 weeks, we'll be doing that. The spring series will start third week of March, run through April. And we have a new one called Outer Mindset with Arbinger Institute. Gary Saltis from Westerville Sunrise helping to lead that. It's about a 5-month series we're piloting. The online programs, again, I've mentioned, it's our district, plus you can see almost every country on the continent now. So it's a great way to interact with international people in Rotary. Here's the alignment with nonviolent communication, the 4-way test. Here's an example of what it looks like. And then we're going to go to Empower. I want to let you know that there's opportunities for Rotarians to come on and engage internationally, and through fellowship through the Rotary Chat with the Chair. There's themes on Monday, Youth Voice, like Rotaract age 18 to 30, Shaping Peace Through the Arts on Tuesday, Building Rotary Peace Builder Clubs on Wednesday, Thursdays, Virtual Peace Conferences with Turkey, District 2420, and then also Fridays, you can learn about forming Rotaract chapters and working with Hong Kong. These are some of the representatives from our district who are there on a regular basis on these Chat with the Chairs, and we want to invite all of you to participate or let your clubs know about this wonderful opportunity. So, how do we engage? There's peace and conflict resolution. We're doing after school programs. We're doing peace polls. There's a global grant in the Caribbean with our district, positive peace, education and literacy, peace mapping, a project we want to go district-wide, cultural diversity, and others. So I'm going to take you through a quick little pictorial. That's me on the south side, and we were working with Boys and Girls Club with Rotarian mentors. This is Clintonville Rotary with their peace poll, and on International Day of Peace. We have the Zanesville Daybreak Club, the first peace club. There's MJ, and the Rotarians are reading to the kids this wonderful education literacy book that promotes the Rotary 4-way test. We also have the Adventure Education, which is positive peace and peace mapping. A great project for interactors, Rotaractors also. Westerville Sunrise brought in Ballet Folklorio. They have a sister project in Mexico. They're also doing diversity. Columbus Rotary is connecting communities with the Linden community, doing multiple projects. And there's also the international project I mentioned that's going on with the Caribbean Islands and 6690. Columbus Rotary is the international partner. Now, how do we engage? Some other ones, Zanesville Noon, doing a vocational service program. They were recognized in the Rotary Action Group for Peace e-newsletter. Dublin Worthington, their international project, they're doing literacy. Columbus Short North, they're doing a great PR project, engaging Columbus Short North businesses and others about the opportunity with partner with Rotary. Hilliard Rotary Club, working with the schools and the Interact Club on youth and diversity. And then you heard of the Arlington Club and all the other things going on. I want to recognize the Delaware Club and the Portsmouth Club are the two newest clubs in our district as we go forward. And now I want to turn it over to MJ for this part. She has a big, big, big dream. We want to engage all the clubs in at least one peace service project a year. And what she has a vision of is wants to invite virtual or on-site peace special events, possibly regional. We've got to figure that out, whether the central, east, southeast, south, or maybe it'll be focused on the topic area. But we want to integrate all 7 areas of focus. So MJ, let me turn it over to you and give me 1 minute when you're done, and I can wrap up afterwards. So
okay, perfect. Yes. Yeah, so, thank you, Tom. So one of Shaker Meta's messages to us again during IA was to do more, grow more. And so I think the do more is certainly highlighted by all the things that Tom is doing for our district and for the world and just all the different peace projects. So shout out to you, Tom. You are really, your passion for peace and passion for this, you are the right man for this job. And so I'm so grateful that you are where you're at. But he is right. I do have a vision of doing, and I'm not sure if anybody is familiar, but past Rotary International President Ian Risley did a peace symposiums across the world where he focused on each area of focus, the Rotary areas of focus, each one of these categories throughout the world. So I have a vision of doing something very similar within our district, where we would maybe, initially it was going to be one a month, then, people are reeling me in. No, that's pretty crazy, Mary J. Once a month, that's too much. Then it's like, well, let's do one every other month. They're like, oh, Mary J., that's still a little crazy. So I think we're shooting for doing one of these peace symposiums, one a quarter. And the concept is to have them held in different regions of our district, because again, District Governor Steve Price and David and I have all talked about how we can bring connection, bring our clubs together, know that they're not just a club in a small area, but they are a part of a group that's much larger. And so the idea is to hold some of these peace symposiums. Maybe we do a health and wellness in Columbus, but then maybe we go to the Athens region and we do a literacy project, or maybe we go to Marietta and do an environmental project or environmental conversation, clean up the river. So I'm not really sure what exactly they're going to look like, whether they'll be projects, whether they'll be conversations and presentations, whether they'll be live or Zoom. That's one of those big seeds that I'm planting in the ground and I'm watering, and I'm not really sure exactly what it's going to look like. But we are going to have a meeting. Tom is going to conduct a meeting with all of the Peace Builder Club representatives in March to start having a conversation to start kicking this off. Our goal is to have the first project and first initiative in September, which is International Day of Peace, September 21st. And then we'll roll them out from there and then have the final one maybe at the district conference, if we can do this live in April. I want to try to get in our Rotaract and Interact involved, and Ro is next in the line for the agenda to kind of talk about that. But I also think it's important to have those young people, maybe the RILA individuals, maybe the youth exchange people involved in putting one of the programs together. So I find it to be something that I think everybody in the district can get involved in and be a part of. So it's a big dream. It's something that to do more. We're going to grow more. I think it'd be a great public image campaign as well. But that's the vision. Back to you, Tom, for your final comment.
Thank you. And obviously the AG roles are going to be really important to help coordinate all that. And second, with all the new clubs like Michelle from New Albany, they're a new club. This is a way to get everybody engaged. And we would like to see if every club does at least one Peace Builder Club. Even Arlington isn't actually yet a designated Peace Builder Club, although they're doing so much. What they're doing about economy in Guatemala, they already are a Peace Builder Club, etc. So we just want to help in that way. Second, I want to let you know this is tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. our time, Sunday, February 21. I'll let you know there is a phenomenal group from Turkey, 2420, they're doing a virtual peace conference follow-up called Bridging the Divide. You can see the keynote's going to be Ken Cloak, who started Mediators Beyond Borders. They're also going to have Peter Kyle and Fergal McCarthy that are RI directors on panels and other distinguished panelists. I want to just let you know about that. If you want to learn more, I can get you information about it. I'll send that out. If you are interested, let us know about becoming a Peace Builder Club or getting on the online. You'll hear about that. Here's a sample application. And if you want to contact me or Mary Jane, others, that's the contact information. Okay. So with that, let me turn it back over to you, MJ. I don't know if we have time for any questions or comments. You can put them in the chat if you like.
Maybe a time for one quick question. And if you have any other questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Is there a question for Tom? You did such an awesome job, Tom. No questions. I do have another comment about dreaming big and to do more. My vision, I don't know if I mentioned this already, and Tom may have mentioned it, but I want all 59 clubs to be designated as Peace Builder clubs. I think we're already doing things that are related to peace. The projects that they're already working on are connected with, improving the environment, are already connected with making people's lives better and improving the world and bringing peace. So if we could work on that, we'll continue to share the story of why they should be doing that. But that's another big dream, big goal. So thank you, Tom. Fabulous. Thanks for being with us. And I don't know if I'm at liberty to share, but Tom is going to be a little out of commission here for the next week or so. So thoughts and prayers to Tom as he goes through some issues next week. So love you, Tom. Take care. Thank you.
I'm having surgery. That's what that's about.
Yes. I didn't know if I should share or not. But
That's
I
all right.
thought
That's
that's a general thing. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So you heard me mention about Rotaract and Interact, and so I'm so excited that Ro Morrow is joining us today to have this conversation. But as I observe and have observed throughout my experiences with the district, I've noticed that we have Rotaract clubs, we have Interact clubs, but I don't know that there's a good cohesive connection between, the Rotaract, Interact in the district, or even maybe with their clubs. And so I have this vision of really strengthening the bonds with Rotaract and Interact, trying to get them more engaged. I mean, Dana's been doing some magnificent things with master classes. I would love to see Rotaract individuals and Interact individuals participate in some of those online series. Tom, bless his heart, invites Rotaract students for all the things that he's been doing. And honestly, when you get on there are no Rotaract students from District 669 participating, but you have people from Turkey and Serbia and all over the world. So we've got individual Rotaract persons, engaging in what Tom's doing, but we don't have a good connection within our district. So one of my initiatives or one of my goals and objectives is to try to build a better connection with Rotaract and Interact and get them more engaged in what we're doing, make sure they're invited to everything that we're doing, help them with any projects that they might be having and so forth. So Ro, without further ado, if you'd like to share some things about our youth services, that would be awesome.
Thank you, MJ. Thank you for inviting me to talk this morning to everyone. Congratulations to all of you on your new positions, if it is a new one. I wish you luck this next year. I will tell you with youth services, it's been a rough year as it has been for Rotary. It has been for the students as well. The difficulty due to COVID with schools not being in session has led to a lot of the clubs having issues with projects and how do they communicate and things like that. I will tell you though, the news is good that our Interact students particularly are meeting. Whether it be virtually, they're doing projects, they're keeping themselves active. So we are encouraged that these programs will continue, but we're going to need your help as we move forward with all of the programs. As you know, RILA was canceled in 2020. It has again been canceled for 2021. Craig and I are looking forward to 2022 and hopefully having another successful event. But we're a little bit concerned that we may have lost some momentum by not having the events the past 2 years. So we're going to need your help to get the word out to the clubs this next year and the presidents to make sure that they know that we're moving forward and that they need to participate and help us find the ideal candidates to participate. With regard to our youth exchange program, as you know, that program sort of took a little bit of a hiatus also because of COVID, but they're moving forward, and we have a potential for outbound students going out as soon as this fall. Fingers crossed, of course, that that continues. So we're moving forward. Rotaract has 2 new chairs this year since Tom has moved into the peace area. So since Tom moved away from that, Michelle Duffel and Stacy Wood has taken that on. And they're still getting their feet wet and still kind of learning the ropes and doing very well, kind of moving forward. So we continue to move forward with trying to build clubs and connections, as MJ said. We're excited about the idea of having the opportunity to participate in one of these peace building sessions that MJ's talking about. Again, the details of which we don't know yet, which focus will have the students lean toward, again, has to be decided. And we're hoping that that will be a combination of the Rotaract and Interact students working together, having not had RILA students the past 2 years, that'll be a little bit difficult to involve them at this point. But of course, we may have some youth exchange students who are potential outbounds that we may be able to involve, or inbounds even. So we're working forward and doing the best we can under the circumstances, as the clubs and all of you are. The thing I wanted to stress to all of you today is one thing that we struggle with the most is knowing who to talk to at the Rotary Club, at the individual club. I've talked to past district governors for the past several years. I've talked to MJ about this concern. And one of my ideas is that we have what we call a youth service contact at every club. That person does not have to be the youth exchange chair. They don't have to be the interact chair, and they probably should not be the club president, but a person who would be willing to serve as a liaison, so to speak, between myself and the district chairs to the club. So there are at some clubs, an interact chair, a Rotaract chair, a RILA chair, there's maybe 4 different people that we would be communicating with. So to make that a little bit easier, if one of those 4 people, or even a 5th person, would be willing to designate themselves as the youth service contact, we would then be able to communicate directly to that person, and then that person could then disseminate the information to the proper person. That would help us a great deal if you would help us when you talk with your presidents and president-elects coming in, if they could look as they're building their committees and they're appointing their chairpersons, if they could look at their membership and figure out a person who might suit that role. And then, of course, the more critical part is make sure that it gets into DAC-DB so that we then have that information at that with the name of the person that is going to take on that position, so we know who to talk to. So if anyone has any questions on any of the youth programs, or any of your clubs are experiencing issues, I'm hearing these success stories for Interact and so forth. But if there are clubs out there that have an Interact club and they're struggling and you need help, Claudia Trustee is the chair, but of course myself or Claudia would be absolutely happy to help you or help your club. So please reach out to us. We are here to help those clubs be successful. Just know that we're always available to come speak to the clubs if that's something that they're interested in as well. Once we can meet in person, we certainly can do it virtually as well. But it's important that they know that, as you guys were saying earlier with the AGs, it's important that they know that as a district, we're there to help support them in their efforts and help them to grow their clubs. The youth service is such an important component of MJ's focus, Steve's focus, all the clubs. I know clubs have student of the months and things like that. Now, maybe they're not doing that now again because of COVID, but what we have found is clubs who have those programs, sometimes they don't even have an Interact club. So we can help them to, if they're identifying a student of the month, we can help them to help find those students and cultivate them to form an Interact club, if that is their wish to do so. Or Rotaract, if they want to look at a young professional club in their community. So let us help them to build their youth programs in their communities. And if we can be of help, as I said, we're here for you. So please let the clubs know. Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome, Ro. Thank you so much. Is there any questions for Ro?
I got just a quick comment. Ro, I want to say thank you for stewarding this whole youth service thing, especially through these challenging times. You got one of the toughest ones, I think, with this lack of contact.
Yeah, it's been tough. Thank you, Tom.
I want to let you know, we already have 20 Rotaractors from Serbia signed up for the online training program starting 3rd week of March. I think we have 6 clubs, maybe Rotaractors. If we could identify 2 each, we can get a sister program going and they could help mentor, and there's going to be an international Rotaract I'll let you know about. Just trying to give a brand that can get them excited even here in the springtime. Okay, I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Any other comments or questions for Ro? I think
like
my
to
biggest
respond to
takeaway.
Sorry, MJ.
Yes, yes.
I was
No,
going
go
to
ahead.
respond in
No,
the
go ahead.
chat. Yeah, in the chat, Tom asked a question about compiling a list of contacts for teachers who lead the Interact and Rotaract clubs. And Tom, that is something, again, that at the district level is very difficult for us to do. That has to be done at the club level and then communicated to our district chair. But I will share that idea with Claudia and ask her as she's reaching out to the clubs to see if she can collect that information. I think that's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Ro.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the reason I brought that up, we have a very active, we don't have a Rotaract club, but we have a very active Interact club. If any of you've looked at DACDB recently, our club, Interact Club, did Valentine's for all the nursing homes and delivered them. And they're doing something every month. And they would like to get involved district-wide, and I just haven't been able to try to get them. And I'll point them toward you, Tom Corlissi.
Good. Yes. Awesome. And I just had an idea pop into my head, Dave Unger. This might make things more exciting for you, but you know, if you've got Interact and Rotaract clubs doing projects and they're taking pictures and they're allowed to share those pictures, those would be great things to be included in the newsletter, so that other clubs, that, you know, any individual that's reading the newsletter sees that the Interact and Rotaract clubs are active. So that helps to build that brand and helps to build that awareness. And as I was going to say too, is the biggest takeaway I'm getting from Ro really is that we need your help, AGs, in convincing the president-elects to identify that contact person for the youth services. Because if this big dream of making a good connection between our youth, the Interact and Rotaract, is going to happen, we need the support and cooperation with the clubs on the club level. So if you could make that a kind of a list of things on your list of priorities to do and encourage them to identify that person, that would be terrific. So we are so behind schedule, Dana. But it's all good. It's been great information. So thank you, Ro. You're a blessing and a dream. Love ya. Okay, next on our agenda is past district governor Tara is here to speak to us about our district strategic plan. And this kind of came out of the president-elect's training that Dana helped put together for our PEs as we move throughout the year. And I was asking them, you know, for them to be successful, do you have a strategic plan? And, you know, you should have a strategic plan and you know, that helps the guide and gives direction to the clubs, and got to doing some investigation. And we have a strategic plan, but it's outdated. Technically, we're supposed to do it, Tara, every 3 years. And I think it was supposed to have done maybe in past district governor Gary's year, and we didn't do it. So in an effort to set the example and make sure that we have a district strategic plan that's current and relevant, I've asked Tara to help us in that endeavor. So Tara, if you'd like to share where we are with that and kind of how all that worked, that would be terrific.
I would be happy to. Hello, everyone. So yeah, I think the big takeaway, I'm going to keep this real high level. The big takeaway, as MJ said, is for the clubs to know that the district does have a strategic plan. You know, as she said, we can't be asking them to do something we're not doing. For the time's sake, I won't share it. I wasn't going to read it to you or anything. You will be getting copies of the district plan or strategic plan. And the biggest thing that I have noticed in this discussion and with the strategic plan, and then several of you were on our multi-year district planning meeting, believe it or not, almost a year and a half ago. And it's amazing what has changed since then. Is that like our strategic plan used to be, here's what we're going to do for the foundation. Here's what we're going to do for membership. Here's what we're going to do, you know, public and all those things. It is now much broader than that. And as the discussion today has shown, all of that intermingles. We have to think about it all together, and, you know, how public image affects membership and membership affects foundation, and So it's not just, here's what we're going to do in each of these categories. It's much broader. At the district level, we were lucky enough, we were able to use RI's 4 major focus points and then kind of incorporate what we had previously into those and change a few and that kind of thing. Connie Hendren and Sandy Knazel and I worked through that, and I really appreciated their help. And then, of course, the help of the DG line as we worked through it. And we do have a timeline set up to review that. But I think also just as importantly as we have that multi-year plan where we actually have action items. We kind of start the strategic plan as kind of an overview, and then we have a multi-year plan where we are actually putting action items and timelines in effect. And this is when we want to do things and that kind of thing, so that the strategic plan and that multi-year plan working together are living documents that continue to grow and change. And we don't 2 years after we were supposed to review it go, oh, whoops, we didn't review this. So I thought that was a really nice thing that came out of that multi-year plan. But big picture for you as the AGs, as you talk to your clubs, is to know the district has a strategic plan. We have a multi-year plan. We are here for the clubs. A lot of the multi-year plan is about helping the clubs with projects, doing things for them, which is what the district, why the district exists. And again, you'll be getting copies of the strategic plan fairly soon. Hopefully we'll be getting the multi-year plan out. I'm sure you'll be getting contacted on things on that. My role in that, I think, is to make sure, not necessarily do all the things, but make sure it's moving forward. And we have people working on that, working with all of the committee chairs and making sure, again, that we're moving forward with our plans and not siloing each of those areas, but that we're working together in each of those areas to move the district and all of our clubs forward. So that I think just kind of covers it for now. MJ, anything else you want me to get into?
I think that's a great overview, Tara. And like you said, we'll have that in print and be able to share so all of you can see that in a written document. I think it'll be more helpful once we actually get to see it kind of written down. But something, again, going back to Shaker Mehta's vision for all of us and for the world is to do a Rotary Days of Service. And part of our strategic plan and part of the multi-year planning process, something that came out of that was we really want to do projects that not only engage Rotarians, but engage community members and other organizations so that we can make a larger impact and work together to a common end. So the multi-year plan, it fits right in with that, Rotary Days of Service, where we are doing projects that are connected with other organizations in our community. You guys will hear more about that later, but I just like how everything is very cohesive and it all kind of rolls into one nice little bundle. And Tara, I appreciate you and Connie and Sandy for working on that. That's a lot of work, a lot of information to kind of call it down into a workable document. So really appreciate your efforts in making that happen. And Tara has agreed to continue working on that. So I'm extremely grateful. That's a woohoo for that. But anybody have any questions for Tara? Okay. Well, you know what? We've got a vision and a plan. That's a start, right? It's all good. Thanks, Tara. You're awesome. And then finally, kind of wrapping up, I wanted our district trainer, Dana Vogelmeyer, the new, actually, I think we have 2 Rotarians of the Year on this call. Joe Pemberton, I believe, is a past. Aren't you a Rotarian of the Year recipient?
A young Rotarian, not quite a Rotarian of the Year, but yeah.
That must, okay, we're working on that one. Okay. Well,
I rigged the election with Craig and Price, so I really, yeah, no.
Oh, you're what? Okay.
Like Joe Evans, I'm humbly in Fran's shadow, so all good things. Love you, Joe.
All right, well, so So we do have our Rotarian of the Year on the call, Dana Vogelmeyer, and I just wanted her to take a few minutes. She's been working, and her committee have been working really, really hard throughout this year, have done a magnificent job. Master classes and just all kinds of different initiatives has helped me and been integral in putting together the president-elect's training, and she's working with Price now for his president-elect's training. So shout out to Dana and all of her work, but I wanted her to kind of share with all of you some things that are happening down the road and currently happening so that you can also share those with your clubs. And the more involvement we get with these, I think I heard a comment maybe when I was with District Governor Steve on one of his visits, and one of the club members made a comment because Steve might have marketed and advertised the upcoming masterclass, and a gentleman, I can't remember who it was, unmuted himself and says that was like the most magnificent thing that I've ever attended. I don't understand why more Rotarians are not on these calls, because it was incredibly useful and impactful. So if you guys could help spread the word that Dana's doing some amazing things, that would be terrific. But Dana, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. To MJ's point about the master classes, I think that, this is a good way to engage Rotarians. And what we hear often too is that people do want some development for their value, within their value proposition of why they join. So this is a great opportunity to fill that need, and also to get some fellowship and meet people from other clubs that you don't even have to go anywhere to meet them, because we always do a breakout. The topics are great. And we've had really good feedback. In March, we're having a program Dr. Victoria Rader that Tom Carlisi gave to us. She's going to do a program on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that's been such a big topic. And over the last 2 meetings, we've kind of went around this a little bit with some other different topics, but we're really going to hone in on DEI during March. And then coming up, we're also going to do, and I know that this is going to sound so fun to everyone, but the ins and outs of DAC-DB. That's going to be, it's important, but I know it's not a topic. But, and we're also going to do one called Meetings That Rock, just to have some clubs share ideas about some fun things they do in their meetings, because if the meeting is valuable and good, people will come. So what can we do to make sure meetings rock? In a few months, we're going to be offering a board training, and it will be open to anyone in the district. You don't have to be a board member. I went to the Rotary Large Club Conference, and there were 2 people who delivered board training, and it was so good. And we had been talking about doing this in our district training team. And I thought, let's just use these people. They did a great job, and we don't have to create anything. So one is from Long Beach, California. The other one is from Austin. And they've agreed to deliver it. So we're going to be meeting soon and get all that together. The last thing that I just want to share coming up is we've put together a leadership program, and it's multiple parts. So it's going to work like a cohort, and you'll see some information on this, and it will also go to the presidents and president-elects. It's to help Rotary clubs do 2 things. The first is to help build bench strength so that they have people in their clubs who are coming up to fill some of those leadership roles. For example, in this program, there is one module on leading a project. So if you have somebody who's going to be leading your big fundraiser, this will be a great way to help them get developed. But it also has other things about building relationships, about working through conflict, timelines, goal setting, all kinds of stuff that leaders need. So the second thing that it does is, even if it's somebody wants to attend, not because they're thinking about being a leader in Rotary, but maybe they want to be a leader in their professional lives, this will help them in that way too. So again, kind of going along that line of professional development as a value add. There's some other things coming, but those are the 3 things that I want to share right now, just kind of for time's sake, and just ask you to encourage your clubs to participate. And they've probably got members who would really love it. So if the presidents or the president-elects or the marketing and communications people could share it, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. Any questions or comments for Dana? something that I'm extremely excited about, and just really great that she's kind of taken this and running with it, is the board training, and not necessarily has to be a board members. But I know that some of you AGs out there have had some struggles with the clubs identifying the next leader, their president-elects, and having trouble identifying some of those positions. So I think this is going to be a great tool if we can convince maybe some of those members where the clubs are struggling with, finding people that will step up to lead. If we can encourage them to participate in this board training program that Dana is going to put together, I think that might help to solve some of our issues. Certainly not all of them, but I think some of the smaller clubs struggle with finding new individuals or people that want to step into leadership roles. And if they can have some of this training, maybe they would feel a little bit more secure and confident that they could do it. So thank you, Dana, for putting that together. Great ideas. And I always love hearing all the stuff. She's got tons of ideas. Talking with her is just amazing. She's got all these different ideas. So I'm very grateful, and we are blessed to have you. So, well, kids, I am over schedule. It's now 11:02. I promised 2 hours, and so is it the truth? No, I lied. It's been longer than 2 hours. But again, as I mentioned earlier, it was sort of like drinking from a fire hose, lots of information. And I would really love to hear from you if there's a topic or an information that you would like to dive deeper into or need more assistance with, and we can spend more time, whether that's at one of Price's AG meetings, we could certainly do that. That way you're not doing additional meetings. Or if you want to schedule a different meeting, we can certainly do that. Don't forget, we do have that riveting conversation about DAC-DB with Fran scheduled for March 4th. So you'll get a link. You haven't got a link yet, but so please put March 4th on your calendar. And hopefully all of you are registered for PETS, which is March 11th, 12th, and 13th. This will be unique. Normally you guys are in the room with the PEs, having the same experience with the PEs, listening to the keynote speakers and presenters, and so that's not going to be happening. I'm the first district governor class to be trained virtually, and this will be the first president-elect's class being trained virtually. So we're going to be masters of virtual, but they're going to really need your support, and I encourage you to reach out to them after PETS is over, just to see how they feel, what questions they might have, and where they need to go. And so we might need to circle back after that as well. But in closing, I would like to give District Governor Steve Heiser an opportunity to say a few words. Steve?
Oh, well, I just want to thank everybody for being on this, at the AG training. And what I love about our district, at the end of the day, is that we're building momentum. We want to achieve goals within a certain amount of time, and that's great. But really, the success of a district from one year to the next is the fact that district leadership is building momentum. If it doesn't happen on June 30th, it'll happen on July 2nd. And at the end of the day, as far as district Rotarians are concerned, it doesn't matter whether it happens June 30th or July 2nd. What matters is that it happens. And we are doing that from MJ to Price to David, and then whomever's after David, and all of you are the ones doing this. And I really appreciate the fact that you're allowing us at the district governor level to succeed so well. And it's really all of what you do, because you are the eyes, ears to the clubs for us. So thank you all so much. We're going to keep this momentum going. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Woohoo! Woohoo! I'd also like to give District Governor nominee designate David Uhl an opportunity to say a couple of words.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it will just be a couple. I'll just note, if you haven't checked out the chat, to do so and mention MJ, how many have suggested how well this has gone. Thank you for putting it on. It was a fantastic morning. It was a lot of information, but a lot of great information that I think was well packaged. So thanks to each person, not only who was on, but also who presented this morning, such great information. As we continue to move forward and get to July, many of the things that we're used to as AGs, I think, will continue as I have opportunity to become AG coordinator. We're going to continue to look for opportunities to connect with each other regularly so that we can share information, share great things that are happening, share challenges, and figure out collectively what solutions could be. You'll continue to see things happening like AG training that Price will put together, things like the AG planner that goes out every quarter. You'll continue to get those as well from me as we go forward. And so how we do all that, I think, is where we'll come to some changes as we move into July, where we have opportunity to perhaps continue to gather this way, but also in person as well. And so there'll be more information coming as we kind of figure out what opportunities we do have as we move into the new Rotary year and as we see what's happening with the pandemic. The only other thing I'll mention that I really want us to focus on, and this is somewhat self-serving, but I'll mention it, as we look ahead toward the year that I have opportunity to serve as district governor, there are 7 of you AGs who are leaving. Your term expires. And so this coming year, as AG coordinator, we are going to focus in on succession planning and ensure that each of you are helping to identify people that may be able to, you can start training even now, and people that can move into your position as you term out here coming up. I almost threw the hat in the ring here when Price sent me that list and I saw how many AGs would be leaving and then I was kind of offended. You're all leaving in the year that, no, but it goes. But we are going to focus in on some succession planning to make sure that we have great continuity as we continue forward. So looking forward to continuing to work with each of you, and I appreciate all that you do.
Excellent. Thank you, Dave. Yes, I mean, you guys as AGs are in a great position to identify rock stars. So start identifying those individuals right away. And not only David's got 7, but Price, how many will you have that you will have to fill?
I have 4.
Okay.
Four great assistant governors to try to find successors for. So we got a lot of work to do. Yeah. Yeah. So keep your eye out for those rock stars. And something that I really love, and I think I'm going to give the credit to District Governor Steve for this, but what I really love about what's happening within the district, we no longer just have an individual as a committee chair. Dave Unger is now no longer just doing all public image by himself. You know, Larry Jenkins is no longer doing all the foundation stuff by himself. Jenny Stotts is no longer doing membership stuff by herself. We actually have acquired and have got individuals throughout the district who are helping these committee chairs do their things. And so they may not be AG, but they might be a rock star and want to help in some other fashion. So please, you're the boots on the ground. Keep your eyes open for individuals that might have a passion or a vocation that may serve the district. I know Dana is looking for somebody to replace her because she's going to be moving into the president-elect's position come next year. So we are desperately looking for, not desperately, we are actively looking for someone that could replace her large shoes. So again, keep your eye out for rock stars. We've got lots of places we can put them in. So, and then Price, did you have a few closing words you'd like to say? Thanks, MJ. You know, lawyers never pass up an opportunity to speak. So I, first of all, want to say, as I look at my Zoom screen and I see all of you as our district leaders, whether you are committee chairs or assistant governors or in the G line or otherwise, it is just so energizing to see all of you and to know what I know about what an important role you play in helping our district help our clubs. It's so important. And I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed being with all the assistant governors this year in my role as AG coordinator. You've brought me along for sure because I didn't have prior experience in that role. And it's been extremely rewarding for me. A reminder that we're going to have an AG meeting this Wednesday at 5 p.m. So hopefully that's on your calendar. If you need information about that Zoom link, let me know, and I think I still have that information. I lost my calendar recently, so I'm still working on rebuilding stuff. Anyway, I want to take just a quick minute to thank 4 of our assistant governors whose service is ending at the end of this Rotary year. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder, MJ, but I do want to thank Joe Evans, David Uhl, Connie Hendren, and Greg Urban for serving as assistant governors. Definitely takes a minute to acknowledge all of you. I see Joe Pemberton clapping very loudly right now, as he is wont to do. So, but and Connie is smiling. Thank you, Connie, for smiling. I just am so appreciative of the 4 of you and your service to your clubs, and you will be missed, but not forgotten. You will be at the top of our list for additional opportunities. Uhl's already said yes, so he's got no choice now anyway. But and Connie's got things that she's doing with our membership committee, and thank you, Connie, for doing that. And Greg, I think will be the AG emeritus forever, and I know that Tom will be counting on Greg as he transitions into that role. We're just so grateful for Greg's leadership. And then Joe Evans, who stepped in to fill an unexpired position, and did that all while sleeping with the secretary of the district. Scandalous. So again, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be with you all. Rock stars was the word that came to my mind even before MJ said it. I think I teleported that thought to her. But anyway, that's all I have. Look forward to seeing the AGs on Wednesday, and thanks again for everything.
Excellent. Thank you, Price. And if anybody saw Joe Pemberton's chat there, that he wants Price Finley to be his life coach, I'm right there with you, Joe. Price is always so good at acknowledging and saying the right thing and so forth. So he is certainly somebody I appreciate and look up to. And I echo the sentiments, Connie and Greg and Joe and David. Thank you so much for all of that you've done for the district over the years. And we continue to, we're going to look forward to seeing you involved in many other ways. So, but your service to the district is definitely treasured, and we greatly appreciate and love you so much. So thank you all. So that is a wrap, kiddos. That is the AG. Oh, Steve, now you had your turn. What is up with that?
No. I've got to ask, before you wrap up, current AGs, please make sure you talk to the presidents of your club to make sure that they talk to their major donors, the Quest Society, Paul Harris Society members, everybody in the district is invited, but we especially want them to come to our foundation gala this Thursday at 5:30, 25th. So please make sure we send an email to the presidents of the clubs to ask them to personally talk to the persons in their clubs. So please follow up on that. Thank you, MJ, for allowing me to say that.
I don't think I had a choice. You're welcome. No, I'm actually excited about the gala because Larry Jenkins and I talked. It's like, I think I'm going to wear like a fur boa or a hat because, like, it's a gala. It's like you got to dress up at least halfway, right? And Steve always says he's from the district, so he always has announcements. So thank you, Steve, for that announcement. All right, kids. Now, am I done, Steve? Can we wrap it up? Excellent. All right, that's a wrap, kids. I do thank you so much for taking 2 hours and 16 minutes of your time this Saturday morning to hang out with me And we're going to have a wonderful, wonderful year as we dream big and grow Rotary and do more. And it's just going to be a fantastic year. I am so thankful for all of your support, all of your energy, all of your contributions. Like I said, lots of information, but more to come. So appreciate you from you guys are all awesome, and I would not be in this position. And I am extremely nervous, but I know that I've got the support of some amazing, amazing people. And so if it weren't for all of you, it would be a way different situation for me. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And as we try to convince, or not convince, but say, you know, I am here for you. We say that we are here for the club. I am here for you. So anything that I could ever do to help or assist in any way, feel free to give me a call, text, email, whatever you need. So thank you so much. That's a wrap. And, oh, hang on a second. Don't go yet. Dana wants to take a picture. So we're going to take a district picture. Right, Dana?
Yes,
Wave, she says
everybody
wave.
wave.
Wave, wave.
Hang on, I've got one more page. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
All right.
Great
so
job,
now,
Mary.
Thank you.
So
Great
now,
job.
we're going to do the
Good
John
job.
Boy thing. Goodbye, Joe. Goodbye, Tom. Goodbye,
Everyone.
Mary.
Happy Saturday.
Goodbye, Connie.
Happy
Goodbye,
Saturday,
Carol.
Tom.
Have a great day. Goodbye, everybody.